What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Chop and Brew. We're in Don O's dining room without Don O. Don't tell him. He left me a key. No, he's off stage right here. I'm here with the one and only Major Pains and Michael Dawson. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm terrific.
Welcome to Don's dining room.
Thank you for having us.
Spacious.
We're drinking a coffee dark mild. We're here kind of hanging out, doing a bunch of different video projects. We're cutting away to do tasting notes on this beer that I brewed, kind of inspired by Stranger Things 2, Chief Hopper and his mornings of coffee and contemplation. So this is a dark mild with a bunch of coffee in it. What do you guys think before we talk about what's in it?
I like it.
Video done.
It's good.
Yeah. The coffee comes through really well, but it's not overpowering. It adds some nice acidity and brightness to it. The malt is pretty expressive. Get some raisin, get some dark fruit out of that. You commented, Chris, off camera that it's dry. It is nice and dry. It keeps it drinkable. Chip, you said it's bigger than you intended, but it still doesn't seem like a brain beater.
Yeah, it's a whopping 4.2 or 4.4.
That's still pretty contemplative.
So originally it was supposed to, if it had gone to recipe or gone according to plan, it should have been more like 1038. But yeah, so it's Simpson's Best Pale. It's Simpson's Double Roast Crystal, the DRC, Pale Chocolate, I believe that's crisp, and black malt from Simpson. So it's a bunch of English malt, Kent Golding hops, basic dark mild, but there's half pound of coffee, Peace Coffee, their Birchwood breakfast blend in the actual mash. And then at the end of the boil, there's 2 ounces. So it's kind of this double punch of coffee in the mash after post-boil. A lot of people have told about this. They don't, and I couldn't wrap my head around it the first time you ever brewed. A coffee mild is like, when you mash with coffee, it's not the same as saying, I'm boiling coffee. But it's hard to think about that because now that coffee is in the wort. I mean, it's in the... So I don't even understand how that works, but what the difference is between the mash and post-boil. But there's a lot of coffee in this beer, for sure. To the point where I don't know if maybe I should have stepped back off some of the darker malts and let the coffee fill their space. But it's highly drinkable. It turned out really good. It was a nice ego boost beer, as we called it, because the beer before this was kind of a hot mess and made me question my ability to brew. But this was an all grain done in the hand me up orange cooler that began with Dawson and went to Keeler and ended up in my hand. So
it's pretty well balanced. Like, it's malty, but it's not malty sweet or syrupy. Definitely some like bready tones to it. Maybe a little bit of grape, but otherwise pretty drinkable. Light, not overpowering coffee. I know a lot of people who do the coffee like in the dry hop part of the process. It tastes like coffee and not like beer. But this has a nice balance of malt and a little bit of English hops to it. So yeah, it turned out well.
do you think that's at all because mashing with coffee just kind of somehow integrates it so much more from the very beginning of the process, whereas if you kind of dry coffee, it's kind of really standing out there as an element on its own and not melding quite as long?
Yeah, the longer you have the coffee in the process, the more it can mellow out. But if you're putting coffee at the last minute, then it can be overpowering and taste just like coffee and not like beer.
And you can't take it back out. Not that you could really take stuff back out, but if you tasted end of brew day wort and you're like, holy crap, all the coffee, you could probably do something along the process to soften that, whether it's maybe I should hit it with a little lactose at the very end or just something. I can't think of what that fix would be, but at least you would know earlier that that's the way it's going to be. I don't know. I've never done it any later than boiling. Chris England had me do the rye stout with espresso in Whirlpool. I took your cue to mash with it. But turned out crystal clear. Obviously, for a dark mild, it could be flatter. This is an American coffee dark mild with
That's why it's so strong.
With a lot of CO2. But I would love to see this out of a pin. Too bad I don't have a pin. Jeremy King's got a pin now, though, and a beer engine. So maybe we can do this project at some point.
I do think it kind of opens up as it's warmed a little bit and probably degassed as well. The carbonation doesn't seem so pricklish, and the malt opens up a little bit more. It's you put it really well, I think, Chris, where it's like malty but not sweet.
Yeah, it was a little spritzier when it was colder, and there's more CO2 in there. But now you can taste more of the malt, and
Tasting it about a week ago, I got this thing that I've noticed in coffee beers before, the kind of green pepper, bell pepper, almost like jalapeno skin. But I'm not getting it at all here, so I don't know if it's kind of literally the temperature or maybe what it was served in at a different time, but I'm not getting that now. Now it's tasting just nice and Englishy.
Yeah, the jalapeno green pepper is poorly roasted beans, so that's no fault to you. So
maybe we won't use that part because Peace Coffee will never give us a sponsorship.
It usually happens with lighter roasts, though, right? And you can avoid that pepper flavor if you go for something more like a full city or a dark roast. At least that's what I've observed with roasting beans at home.
Really?
Yeah. If you stop too close to the first crack, you'll get a lot of kind of vegetal flavors from the beans.
Oh.
And I don't remember what their birchwood blend is.
It's pretty dark. Seemed really dark. Yeah.
Then it might have been something other than the coffee. Maybe you shouldn't put jalapenos in it.
Well, like I said, it's not there anymore, so it could also just been youth of the beer. It could have been esters. It could have been other things that haven't mellowed out. But
Don't blame the coffee, man.
don't blame the coffee, blame the brewer. So if you want to brew your own coffee dark mild, we're going to put the recipe up, chopandbrew.com/recipes. Shout out to Chief Hopper. Thanks for keeping Hawkins, Indiana safe in the early 80s. But yeah, it's a good coffee beer, and I'm going to try it again, do it in a pin. Let us know how it goes for you, man. What kind of coffees you used and how it worked out. So we're empty, except for this guy. Hurry up.
I'm not Chip.
All right, chop for chop.
Brew for brew.
Holla! So we'll put that recipe up, coffee dark mild. Shout out to Chief Hooper. Thanks for keeping things safe.
Hopper.
All right, start that over. Dennis.
Have you even seen the show?
Dennis Hooper.